Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Southeast.
It's an early taste of summer in Atlanta and a special night for Brian Snitker. He makes his home debut as the skipper of the Atlanta Braves as Freddie Freeman and company kick off a long homestand with the Milwaukee Brewers in town for Game 1 of 3 tonight. Hi again, friends, along with Joe Simpson and Tom Glavine. Yours truly, Elmer Fudd. Should be a fun series with the Brew Crew tonight. As Julio Teheran gets the ball for the Braves, Tommy, he's emerged as a staff ace of late.
Well, he's been the staff ace, obviously, but his record hasn't indicated that. Has pitched much better all season long than his numbers, and in particular, his last 6 starts. He's been absolutely unbelievable in those starts, and really, it's been the attacking the strike zone for me that's been better. Fastball, changeup, slider, curveball, up, down, in, out, really doing everything that he needs to do to be successful. But again, attacking that strike zone, pitching with confidence. You see what he's done in his last 6 starts. And to me, the record right there indicates what the problem's been all year long. With those numbers, he should be 6-0 in his last 6 starts, not 1-2. But that's kind of been the case for him the last couple of years. So we'll see if he can continue to do his good work and get another win tonight.
So starting pitching has not been a problem for the Braves, Joe, but starting pitching for the Brewers has been a huge problem for Craig Counsell, with a couple of notable exceptions, including tonight's starter, Jimmy Nelson.
Yeah, and that's a big exception. For you folks that don't have Jimmy Nelson on your wavelength, if he's not on your radar, you need to put him on there. He's a great big right-handed horse, and he is really good out of the University of Alabama. His record, like Julio's, could be a whole lot better with a little run support. He throws hard, attacks the zone. He has a great 12-6 curveball that you will see a lot tonight. And his last few starts, he's been equally as good with a 1.17 ERA. 5 walks, 10 strikeouts over that stretch. He made 1 start against the Braves. Believe it or not, it was a year ago today. And Atlanta beat him, but they certainly didn't wear him out. He's good.
That was a final score of 2-1 Atlanta 1 year ago, as Joe said. But Julio Teheran is back in command. He's back on the mound as the Braves start a long homestand here at Turner Field. It feels like summer. We'll hope Julio gets hot. We'll see if he does when we come right back.
Braves baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
Welcome back. The boys are back in town. After a long road trip, the Braves are hosting the Brewers in Game 1 right here at Turner Field. And Julio Teheran on the mound for Atlanta, and he has been incredible so far this season. Still looking for that first home win, though, but take a look at what he did in May with our Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard. Check out this company that he's in. Only second to Clayton Kershaw and the lowest ERA in May. But like I said, those are incredible guys to be grouped up with. And we spoke to Tyler Flowers, one of the guys on the Braves team who knows him best.
He's definitely got a very good demeanor out there. Whether it's going good for him or bad, I think he brings that presence of, challenging hitters. He's definitely not afraid of contact, which is big for a guy at the top of your rotation. That allows him to get deep in ball games. And like I said, he's done a good job commanding typically 3 or even 4 of his pitches, so that makes it a lot of fun to call a game plan back there.
So Julio Teheran and the boys looking to get a winning streak started here at home. Stay with us because we have first pitch and starting lineups coming up with Chip and Joe right after the break.
Milwaukee Brewers, who enter play tonight with a record of 18-26, and they've got to face a red-hot right-hander, Julio Teheran, who's pitched great this entire month, Tom.
Yes, he has. 10th start of the year, 1-4 on the year, but look at his splits. His first 4, 0-2 with a 5.6. His last 5, 1-2 with a .8 ERA. So he's really been pitching well. Now let's see if he can start getting the benefits of some of that.
And his 4 keys to pitching success tonight. Just as you said, Tommy, number 1, pound the zone. He's been going after it, being real aggressive, throwing strikes, getting ahead of hitters. And K Crew, not the Blue Crew, not the Brew Crew, but the K Crew. This Milwaukee team strikes out a lot. They've got a stretch going of 5 straight games with 10 or more strikeouts. And get this, 89 games in a row where they've struck out 5 or more times.
They're averaging almost 10 strikeouts a game. Tough to win that way, and the Brewers have lost their last 3 games. Here's how Craig Counsell lines them up. Jonathan Villar is their shortstop. He's a switch hitter. Scooter Gennett bats second, plays second. Ryan Braun's their best hitter and has been battling a bad back. Jonathan Lucroy is their catcher. Chris Carter, a lot of power, a ton of strikeouts. Kirk Nieuwenhuis, Aaron Hill, Ramon Flores is in right. And Jimmy Nelson, the hard-throwing right-hander, will pitch and bat ninth. Braves last year beat the Brewers 5 times in 7 games, and for that man, I'm sure a very special day. His first home game as the manager of the Atlanta Braves, Brian Snitker, with the lineup card, getting his thoughts together for Game 1 tonight.
Yeah, you know, it's an exciting night, not just for him, but his entire family who are here. There's the crowd, including the twin babies. Wife Ronnie there holding the baby. Exciting for everybody.
Yeah, big night for those guys. That's great.
Awesome. So Julio Teheran is ready to go. Jonathan Villar, the former Astro, leads things off with a .286 average. And we are underway. 83 degrees. How nice is that?
It's awesome.
Why, has the weather been bad where you guys have been?
Whew. Thanks for watching.
It's hard to tell on TV. It just looks dark. I don't know.
1 ball, 1 strike for Villar. And he was a little late. Milwaukee has not won a road series this year. They're just 6-14 in their first 20 games away from home. The Braves are 2-17 at home entering play tonight, so something's got to give with regards to that. That's Craig Counsell, took over last year when Ron Roenicke was dismissed. 79 wins, 99 losses as a big league skipper coming into tonight's game. A ground ball to first. That should be easy as Teheran got to the bag, and a ground out gets things started. Joe, one reason why the Braves have struggled has been their play defensively here at home somehow, some way.
Yeah, it's been awful. 20 errors in 19 games at home. They've got to tighten it up. You see something different, too, in the outfield. Inciarte's in center, Malik Smith in left. And Brian Snitker's going to go with that when they play in the same game together. And the only explanation I have for that, first of all, I like it. Inciarte can go get him, so can Malix. But if you recall, when Andrew Jones, the greatest center fielder in the history of the Atlanta part of the franchise, was here, he had to start in left field and more or less wait his turn.
Yes, he did.
This is Scooter Gennett, the Brewers' second baseman, who came off the disabled list May 11th. He had an oblique problem. He's hit 4 homers. He's knocked in 5 runs. And he's a little late. 1 ball, 1 strike. Braves home after a 4-6 road trip. They were blanked by the Phillies on Sunday, off day yesterday. And the men in the pen certainly needed that off day. They were used a lot. Hopefully Teheran can take the game deep here tonight. That's popped up left side. Gordon Beckham drifts behind the third base bag and puts the squeeze on that. 2 outs. And that'll bring up Ryan Braun. Braun is off to a flying start for Milwaukee. I'm talking to some of their people. He is their best player right now. He's hitting everything hard. He's hitting for an extremely high average at .360. And when there's a runner at second or third, more often than not, Braun's bringing him home.
Yeah, they've got to keep him healthy. They've got to keep him on the field. The one guy that's really tearing it up offensively.
Braun had some offseason back surgery, and the doctors have said that he's going to have some bumps in the road as he makes his way back to full strength because of the scar tissue that has to break up in that back area. He was in the lineup for Milwaukee on Sunday, day off yesterday, and of course ready to go tonight. 2 balls and a strike to him.
I'm sure some of this warm weather is probably a welcome thing for him too.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Braun's 1 for 9 against Teheran head-to-head. And that's driven down the right field line, and no play. Two outs, nobody aboard. And Braun strokes that towards center. Inciarte back a couple of steps. And Julio off to a good start. 3 up, 3 down for Milwaukee. Jimmy Nelson will grab a baseball. He'll face the Braves in the bottom of the first next. With a 4-3 record for Milwaukee.
Making his 10th start on the year. 4-3, as you said, with a 3.07 ERA. Coming off a great start his last time out against the Cubs. Went 7 1/3 shutout innings. Had 5 strikeouts in what was eventually a 13-inning 2-1 loss for the Brewers.
And here's the Braves lineup he'll face in game 1. Ender Inciarte leads off. Beckham, Freeman, and Markakis the top 4. Tyler Flowers has turned into Julio's personal catcher, so he's out there even with a righty on the mound. Kelly Johnson 6th, Ibar, Teheran, and Malik Smith 9th. And you're going to see a lot of pitches like that tonight, huh, fellas?
Yeah, he'll pitch inside. Certainly will pitch inside to right-handers. Likes to keep them off the plate.
Lots of fastballs. Attacks the zone with his fastball, 93, 95. So see a steady dose of those.
Big guy too, 6'6", 250.
Out of Niceville, Florida. He was a huge Braves fan growing up in the Florida Panhandle. And that skids off the screen to the left side, out of play. It's still 0-2. His favorite players were Biff Pocoroba and Rob Belwa.
Well, he was a fan then.
Yeah, if you knew who those guys were.
No balls, 2 strikes for the Braves leadoff man Inciarte, and that's taken inside. Yeah, Mr. Nelson was a big fan of the Braves right-handed portion of the starting staff. Should we leave it at that, Tom?
Yeah, let's leave it there.
Two and two. Ender hitting .217 for the year. Had 10 hits on the road trip. And a letter high strike at 95 miles an hour. One down. Here's Milwaukee's defensive lineup. They've committed 29 errors this year. Braun, Neuenhuis, and Flores left to right in the outfield. Carter, Jeanette, VR, and Aaron Hill, former Jay and Diamondback. And Jonathan Lucroy is their catcher. One up, one down for Gordon Beckham. Gordon said before the game he feels good at the plate and his numbers look good. For the Braves infielder, hitting .308 and 9 RBIs. This one's hit to right. That's playable for the second out. Flores gloves it. 2 up, 2 down for Nelson.
Gordon had a good road trip at .313 on the trip. Played good defense. Freddie Freeman had a good road trip too. His average on the trip was just .225, but he was hitting some rockets at people.
That noticeable shot that he hit to Tommy Joseph that had Cameron Rupp standing at home plate shaking his head as if to say, we dodged a big bullet. That would have brought home a couple of runs for the Braves the other day. No such luck. As that missed inside, 2 balls, no strikes. Braves found their power stroke on the road. They hit 9 homers in their last 6 games on the just completed trip. And as you look at the Braves lineup of players on the current 25-man roster, Freddie Freeman's the only man that's hit a home run here at Turner Field this year. 4 of his 8 have come in his home park.
Good hack right there.
Nelson threw 99 pitches in his last start against the Cubs. Held them scoreless over 7 1/3 innings. And that miss low, says Adam Hamari, the home plate umpire. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Adam Hamari's already had a couple of noteworthy games behind the plate in his major league umpiring career. He called a no-hitter for Tim Lincecum, and he was the man behind the plate for Derek Jeter's final game in the big leagues. High fly ball toward right. Flores in the sunshine is there. And a pair of 1, 2, 3 innings sends us to inning number 2.
thing, and traffic was horrible. And Marty drove me down. I'm like, dude, you got to get one of these, you know. And I left it in my truck because he drove, and that was the biggest thing going through my mind. No, really, it was exciting, you know. And we got in the other night from the road and saw my name on the door, and kind of neat, you know. It was cool.
So the day may have started off a little rough for Brian Snitker, but like he said, it is such a special day for him as he makes his debut here at Turner Field as the Braves manager. And, you know, he also told us, we asked, did you take a picture of your nameplate on the door? He said he doesn't know how to work his phone. And he said the biggest thing was seeing former players and all of these guys welcome him here back at the field. So it's just a special day for him and his family who's all in attendance here. Guys.
Thank you very much, Kelsey. Great moment for a great guy, Brian Snitker. As we head to the second inning, Jonathan Lucroy leads things off. Lucroy hitting .287, 6 homers, 17 runs batted in. An injury-plagued season for him last year. Missed 38 games with a broken toe and 14 games with a concussion. But guys, you're talking about a terrific offensive player at a very tough position to get consistent offense. Wonder if Lucroy fits into the long-range plans of this Brewers organization. As if he doesn't, I would imagine he'd bring a king's ransom in return.
I was going to say there's probably 28 other teams that he would fit into their plans.
Yeah, I think some teams have already found that out.
That'll wake you up. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Right by the whiskers.
And jammed him and fouled away to the right. Lucroy's still a 1 ball, 2 strike count. Lucroy made some news in Milwaukee when he was asked about where his standing should be on this team, and he said, look, maybe it would be better off if they do trade me, because he didn't know if he wants to be a part of a long-term rebuilding project for the Brewers at this stage in his career. That obviously raised a lot of eyebrows among Brewer faithful, but he was just being honest about where he stands and how he felt. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bounced up there. It's now 3-2.
He's no spring chicken, and I understand that for a guy who has had very little winning experience in Milwaukee. 1 trip to the postseason. He'd like to try that again somewhere.
Isn't it funny how we all get tired of the sound bites, and then you get a guy who's being honest in there.
Yeah.
And he's crucified for being honest.
Swing and a miss. Lucroy is down on strikes. That's the first punch out for Julio in the game.
Good curveball. Good location. Beat him with location and the change of speeds on that one.
He's really used his curveball well as a changeup. Tommy has been excellent.
Well, here's a man that can hit the ball a long way. The question is, can he make contact? Chris Carter with 13 home runs this year. That's the good news. Bad news is he struck out 56 times. And there's not a ballpark that can hold this man's power. 8 of his 13 home runs have been to straightaway center field this year.
Now, when he hits it, it goes a long way, like you say.
Last year with the Astros, 24 homers, 64 RBIs, but 151 strikeouts and 391 at bats.
Goodness. Well, he's hitting them at a rapid rate. 1 every 11.9 at bats.
Not that time. Teheran strikes him out. 2 up, 2 down in the Milwaukee second.
It's just a fastball that beat him.
Cut it loose.
Kirk Nieuwenhuis greeted with the Star Trek theme as he makes his way to the batter's box. Hitting .247 for the year. And that's outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
Braves have seen a lot of him from his time with the Mets.
That's pop fly foul, and a fan from Hiram, Georgia, is going to come up with that bouncing ball under his seat.
A little different perspective for Mallex Smith in left field, and the way the ball comes off the bat. He's getting a little extra work out there today from Bo Porter, who's hitting a lot of balls away from him, going to his backhand side to cut him off, and some fly balls. In no way, shape, or form should this be looked upon as a choice, moving him to left instead of Inciarte. He'll get his time there.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
No more so than Inciarte might have thought when Mallex was playing center and he was playing left.
Three men on the right side of the infield for Nieuwenhuis as Julio turns it loose. And a swing and a miss. Flowers can't find it. And there'll be no throw to first. Nieuwenhuis will reach on a strikeout. And we'll see if it's pass ball or wild pitch. It's a wild pitch.
Just good back foot slider and got through the 5-hole.
Yeah. So here's Aaron Hill playing third base for Milwaukee, and he hits one the other way. Nieuwenhuis around second will stop there as Markakis got to it quickly. The inning continues with 2 outs, first and second for Milwaukee. And Ramon Flores, the right fielder.
That's what Aaron Hill wanted to do. Just take advantage of the hole. Nice job of going the other way.
Ramon Flores, just 25 years old, from Venezuela. Brewers got him from Seattle for Luis Sardinas at the end of last year. The regular right fielder is Domingo Santana, but he's hurt. And Flores, a man that cherishes every minute he has in the major leagues. Got to the big leagues as a 23-year-old last year, when he was with the Yankees. He spent 7 seasons in the minor leagues. Over 2,500 minor league at bats before he got a look with New York.
Well, they've used him everywhere. Pretty versatile, infield or outfield.
No balls, 2 strikes. Nieuwenhuis at second, Hill at first. And Julio Teheran has his 4th strikeout of the inning. Lucroy swinging, Carter swinging, Nieuwenhuis swinging, and after he reached on a wild pitch and Hill single, Flores whiffs with a big cut. Nothing doing for Milwaukee in the second. will lead things off for the Braves. Fans, we invite you to spend your Memorial Day weekend with us here at Turner Field. The Marlins and Giants are coming to town Friday, May 27th through Memorial Day, Monday, May 30th. Don't miss the Chipper and Freddie ATV bobblehead on the 28th and Chris Stapleton on the 29th. Go to Braves.com and get your tickets today.
Cheesehead.
Attention media, note on the 4 strikeouts by Julio Teheran in the second inning. The first Braves pitcher scored 4 strikeouts in an inning. Craig Kimbrell did so on September 26, 2012.
Brad Hange, the Braves media relations man, tells us the last Braves pitcher with 4 strikes and an inning was Craig Kimbrell in September of 2012 against Miami. So Julio did that in the second today, and now Nick Markakis leads off against Nelson. Two balls, no strikes.
This guy's got easy gas. Great big strong guy. Comes out of his hand with ease.
Seems like a heavy ball.
Uh-huh.
Nelson comes from a great athletic family. His dad Jim played football at Florida State. His mom Deborah was a basketball player with the Seminoles. And he is painting right now. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
He's good. He's really good. And if he weren't pitching in Milwaukee and playing for a team giving him a little more run support, there'd be a lot of people talking about him.
Nelson led their club last year with 11 wins against 13 losses. Milwaukee won 68 games after going 82-80 in 2014. And the challenge, I'm sure fans in Cincinnati and Milwaukee can look for sympathy, is that they're trying to win a division that has the Pirates, the Cubs, and the Cardinals in it. And all 3 of those teams last year won 97 games or more.
Yeah, that's tough.
The 3-2 pitch. And outside, Markakis is the first Braves base runner. I mean, to put it in perspective, fellas, Milwaukee rebuilding last year, finished 29 games out of 3rd place.
Goodness. Well, I think you mentioned the 82-80 in 14. I thought that was what was a little bit surprising. I know they got off to a slow start last year, but it was Ron Renneke losing his job so fast after what was a pretty good season for them the year before. I guess the expectations really went up.
A strike to Tyler Flowers.
Yeah, that's almost a division where when you're trying to assess your rebuild, trying to assess your progress, you probably got to measure it more on your win-loss record than you do where you stand in the standings, because you could actually have a pretty decent year and still be pretty far back.
There's another nasty pitch from Nelson. 0-2 your count.
I was talking to Tyler before the game and complimenting him on his road trip and how he had squared up a lot of balls, and he said, well, there were some. He wasn't 100% on board with it, but he said, I'm trying to just find something, and I'm getting there, that I can take with me into every game.
That'll work.
Yeah.
A single up the middle on an 0-2 pitch. First hit for Atlanta, and the Braves have a threat. 2 on, nobody out.
And that sounds like, well, doesn't every hitter want to do that? Well, sure they do. But when you're not playing every day, when you're playing every 2 or every 3 or every 4 days, sometimes you got to go back to basics and try to start over. And he's trying to find 1 or 2 things that he can take with him every time. And he's using the whole field.
Yeah, and that's, you know, like I say, when you're playing every day, hitting every day, pitching regularly, yeah, you've got your 1 or 2 checkpoints in your swing or your delivery that you can kind of rely on. But like you're saying, when you're not out there all that often, it's hard to remember what you felt the last time you were out there to kind of hang your hat on.
Let's see if Kelly Johnson can plate the game's first run. Kelly at 221 on the year. You know he can hit a fastball, so they start him with something off speed that missed. 1 ball, no strikes. Kelly didn't have a lot of playing time on the last road trip, was 5 for 24. One of those hits was a home run. Nice stop by Lucroy. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
For having the reputation of being a good offensive catcher, Lucroy is pretty solid behind the plate. Good defensive player too.
I agree with Tom. There's 29 other teams that would like to have him.
Yep.
He can play first base too.
He's just one of those guys that we see a lot of them now, that if you don't ever see him play, once you watch him play in a series, you're like, yeah, I like that guy.
Ooh, a little low. Homari didn't give Nelson that call, and it's 3-2.
A little low.
I think that was one he was hoping to get a chase more than a call.
Downstairs, they're loaded. 2 walks and a single on an 0-2 pitch. And it's set up for Eric Aybar, and the Brewers infield defense will head to the mound to try to settle down Nelson.
I'm guessing that Lucroy's out there at the time. You're not missing much. I mean, that was a pretty good sinker right there that just dropped out of the bottom of the strike zone. And we've seen that with some Braves pitchers before who are pitching pretty well, but they're just missing.
Yeah, stay aggressive and try to get that ground ball here. Trade some outs for a run. Manage the inning. That's what they're thinking. That's not what we want.
Nope.
Obviously.
Bases are loaded for Eric Aybar. And nobody out. Aybar at 175, no homers, 6 RBIs. He is 0 for 2 this year with the bases loaded. Way high. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And these RBI opportunities that Eric has had, he's pretty good about putting the ball in play. He's hitting some double plays too, but rarely strikes out in these spots.
And isn't it funny? Nelson tried to get Kelly Johnson out at the knees or below, and now he can't get the ball down to Eric Aybar. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, he has walked some people. Before the game tonight, his numbers 23 walks in 58 innings. That's quite a few.
Nowhere near. 3 balls and a strike.
He's not going to get too many calls, Tommy, with the way Lucroy is setting up away and having to reach across his body to make some catches that are close to strikes. He's not going to get that call.
No, he's actually gotten 1 or 2 of them, but you're not going to continue to get them, that's for sure.
Line to third and a double play. Aybar hit it a ton the other way, and Aaron Hill grabbed it. His momentum took into the bag, and Nick Markakis had no shot to get back. 2 out.
They've already turned a 5-4-3 triple play this year, and Aaron Hill was looking for more. He ran to the bag and was checking to see if there was room for another force out somewhere.
So bad luck for Aybar, and now Nelson has Julio Teheran, the Braves pitcher, up with 2 outs. That'll put some zip in your step, won't it, Tommy?
Yes, it will. Talk about kind of breathing new life.
No balls and a strike. Little roller hit out towards Scooter Gennett, and Nelson is out of a bases loaded, nobody out mess. A double play and a ground out sends us to the 3rd. No score. Last inning of work. He'll start the 3rd inning with his mound opponent, Jimmy Nelson. Then we go back to the top of the order. Boy, that's a sign of a snake bit pitcher. Julio Teheran, as you know, does not get much run support. Bases loaded, nobody out. A double play and a ground out takes him out of the inning.
an Adam ball. Might have been ball 4 too. Worst run support, 2 guys on the Braves team. Whistler and Teheran in the top 5.
Well, you got to forget about that. You can't be, well, that always happens. We never score. You just got to go out there and keep getting outs. You never know.
And Julio's done that. He's got a streak of 14 2/3 scoreless working as he starts the 3rd with the Brewers pitcher. And delivers a strike to Nelson, who's 3 for 19 this year, but 12 strikeouts.
Well, he got the memo. Clearly, strikeouts don't matter. So he's swinging hard in case he hits it.
No balls, 2 strikes. Now, I'll bet you hated going over a scouting report, Tom, for a team that struck out a ton.
Yeah, it's no fun. It's way more fun going against those guys that shorten up with 2 strikes and hit the ball the other way and make contact.
1-2 count. Strike 3 called. That's 5 for Teheran. And a good start to his 3rd inning.
This is one of the things that Tommy was talking about Julio pounding the zone. I know this is a pitcher, but look at the location. Good live fastball. Not even outer 3rd. That was on the outer corner.
Yeah, that's in that bottom little box on the strike zone graphic.
Yeah.
9 strikeouts is Julio's season high. His career high is 11, which he's accomplished 4 times. He's got 5 so far, and Jonathan Villar up for a 2nd time. The way Villar's been described to me was as a placeholder. He was a placeholder in Houston until Carlos Correa came up, and he might be a placeholder until Orlando Arcia comes up. He's one of the Brewers' top position player prospects.
That's a bad tag to get.
I was going to say, is that better or worse than being that proverbial minor league insurance policy guy?
I'd rather be this guy.
Well, he's making a great case to stay for Milwaukee in whatever role they assign him. Did you know he's the leading base stealer in the National League?
Did not.
See, learned something. You play for Milwaukee, it's hard for anybody to know anything about you.
1 ball, 2 strikes for Jonathan Villar.
And that's not a knock on Milwaukee. It's a small market team. They're at or near the bottom of the National League Central, like those teams you were talking about that get so much national attention. Milwaukee does not.
One ball, 2 strikes. Strike 3 outside corner, and Villar knew it. He thought it was low, but Adam Hamari said had a seat. Two outs for Scooter Gennett.
It's kind of weird. He's gotten 6 straight strikeouts, but they're not all outs.
Right.
One guy reached on a wild pitch, so
Yeah.
you can't say he's got 6 straight outs by strikeout.
Scooter Gennett got off to a slow start for Milwaukee last year, was sent to AAA on May 18th. Spent 3 weeks down at Colorado Springs and then hit .287 after he came back up. He was hitting .154 at the time of his demotion, after hitting .289 the season before for the Brew Crew. Two balls, two strikes.
He walked 12 times in 114 games last year. He's already walked 12 times this year.
That's out of play, foul again to the 25-year-old Brewers second baseman who lives in Parrish, Florida. That's fouled back, still an even count. Scooter Gennett played baseball at Sarasota, Florida High School. Was going to go to Florida State before Milwaukee took him in the 16th round of the draft. And again, a 2-2 pitch. Struck him out. Told you the Brewers swing at everything. That's 7 strikeouts for Teheran over his first 3 innings. And he strikes out the side for the second time. But Julio slumping. 4 strikeouts an inning ago, only 3 in the third. Anytime. She's a beauty. Alex Smith leads off for the Braves here in the third inning. He's our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot.
Last 20 games he's been on a roll. 3 homers, 9 RBIs. Had that 2 home run game in Pittsburgh. He's bumped his average up over 240.
And he's doing that more, Joe. Not only showing bunt, but actually laying a few down.
Yeah, and effectively too. And it all started with a sacrifice bunt where he realized that he didn't have to run out of the batter's box to beat it out. By that I mean leave too early.
Yeah, run before you bunt.
Yeah.
2 quick strikes from Nelson. And Mallex goes down swinging. That's the second of the game for the Brewers right-hander. And back to the top of the order, Ender Inciarte.
So 12-6. And I can promise you Mallex hasn't seen many of those.
No.
Ender struck out looking to start the Braves offensive night. And he bounces one past Hill and down the left field line. Ender around first on his way to second with a 1-out double. That's his 4th career hit against Jimmy Nelson. The other hit, or one of those other hits, also a home run.
That too a breaking ball. That time Hill was off the line.
Here's Gordon Beckham. Gordon flied out to right his first time up. Good numbers on the road trip for Gordon. He's trying to get into double digits in RBIs right here. Pitch. Didn't get it.
Remember the other day, Chip, when I told you it's interesting when you play new teams how they view or scout or put into work a shift or whatever for one of the Braves hitters that we see every day. This one's an odd one for me on Gordon, with Carter way off the line at first. And Jeanette almost up the middle. As much as Gordon uses right field, it's kind of interesting.
Nelson's ahead, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Houston Astros use more shifts than anybody in baseball, but the Brewers use the most in the National League.
Swing and a miss. Exploding slider takes care of Beckham. That's 2 strikeouts in the inning for Nelson, 3 in the game. And Freddie Freeman's the hitter with first base open. Nice stop, Lucroy. 1 ball, no strikes. Braves have 2 players in double digits in walks. Markakis leads the team with 26. Freeman is second with 20. Inciarte back on a pickoff play. Any guesses as to who leads our league in walks? Another pickoff. This one gets away, and Inciarte's on his way to third base. He'll stop there as Hill tracks it down. All help appreciated. A throwing error by Nelson.
I was hoping that didn't get him in the knee.
Yeah. And then Villar tried to tackle him. Well, it might have.
Bryce Harper leads the league with 48 walks for the Nationals.
I was going to guess that. He didn't give me time.
Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He's probably got a nice lead on number 2, whoever that is.
Shift on for Freeman. 1 ball, 1 strike, and out of play. It's 1-2.
With Aaron Hill playing way off the line for this shift at third base, Inciarte is taking as much room as he can get. Nobody there to hold him on, which means the ball in the dirt, he could score pretty easily and doesn't have to be one to the backstop.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Nelson's already over 50 pitches, and he's not through 3 innings yet. See if Freddie can reel him in here in the 3rd.
He's fighting off some good pitches. Last one at 94, a couple of others at 94 that he's fighting off his hands.
See if he goes back to that back door or back foot curveball that he threw to Malix.
Swing and a miss. 95 on the outer part of the plate. Inciarte doubles with 1 out. He's left stranded 90 feet away, and 3, 4, and 5 coming up for the Brewers. Chip Carey with you here at Game 1 between the Braves and Brewers. The first 20,000 fans in attendance this Saturday night, May 28th, get the giveaway of the year. A Chipper Rescues Freddy ATV bobblehead. You don't want to miss it. Go to Braves.com/tickets and get yours today. The Marlins will be in town over the weekend. Marlins played at home today. They took on the Tampa Bay Rays. Ichiro has been red hot for the Florida Marlins. 2 games with 4 hits for Ichiro, who's now 40 away from 3,000.
It's amazing.
At the age of 43. Tampa Bay won today by a 4-3 final score. Here's Ryan Braun to start the 4th. Braun flying out to center. He's chasing a milestone hit. He's 10 away from 1,500 as a major league hitter. Braun's a 6-time All-Star. And is the all-time Brewers franchise leader in home runs. With 259 of them, he passed Robin Yount. And that's upstairs. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
It's a shame he cheated because he had talent in its own right. I mean, it's almost like you could say he didn't need that. He was just fine without it, and he's proving that he's still good without it, hopefully without it.
Fly ball hammered center. Inciarte, terrific jump, still going back. That ball is gone. Ryan Braun with a line drive homer over the center field fence, and the Brewers have struck first. It's 1-0.
Hanging breaking ball. They go a long way. For a minute, I didn't think it had enough air to get out of here.
Me neither. Line shot.
So Milwaukee takes a 4th inning lead on a Braun home run. Here's Lucroy. Let me ask you a question about Ryan Braun. As you said, Joe, he's proven he doesn't need what he went through with regards to the PED issue. As Lucroy shoots one toward Malix in left, he'll get there for the first out. Braun's got a big contract. He signed through the 2020 season. What kind of market value would a player like Ryan Braun have should Milwaukee decide to move him?
There's always going to be that stigma in my mind, but because of the size of the contract, Milwaukee would have to pick up a heavy dose of that money.
And I mean, the same question that applied to Lucroy, I guess, would apply to Ryan Braun. Does he, at this stage in his career, at 32, want to be the highest paid guy on a team that's going to be rebuilding for 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, I mean, depending on what you've got to give up or what have you, I think there's a lot of teams that wouldn't mind Ryan Braun hitting 3rd or 5th in their lineup.
Everybody's looking for power.
Here's the funny thing, though. I don't know what kind of 10-5 type stuff he might have. Some no trade clauses in that big contract might be in there. He's in a very, just as we've been talking, he went around for the strikeout, about Milwaukee and nobody knowing too much about their players. He's in a real safe haven there.
Yeah.
And the people in Milwaukee have pretty much forgiven him for what he did and how he went about denying all that. I'm not sure he goes anywhere else and somebody gives him that kind of break.
And as far as a hitter's park is concerned, there aren't many better places than Miller Park to hit.
I'm with Tommy. Would I like to see him in the middle of the Braves lineup? You bet. He's still a tough out and a terrific hitter, but that stigma's never going to go away.
So after the home run to Braun, a flyout and a strikeout brings up Neuenhuis, who whiffed and reached on a wild pitch his first time up. And Adam Hamari behind the plate might need to ice his shoulder around the 6th inning with all the strikeouts that are being racked up so far tonight.
That home run was the first one given up by Julio since April 25th to Jackie Bradley in Boston. That was the only run of the game, wasn't it? 1-0.
And Jackie Bradley probably hasn't stopped hitting since, has he?
No, he hasn't.
So that home run also stops Julio's scoreless streak at 15 2/3 innings, dating back to his start against the Royals. Swing and a miss. Julio Teheran has 9 strikeouts in his first 4 innings. But a Ryan Braun solo home run leading off the 4th gives Jimmy Nelson a 1-0 lead. Braun's homer the difference despite 9 strikeouts for Julio Teheran after 4 innings of work. But as we told you, the Braves are facing arguably Milwaukee's best starter tonight.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about it. And their team ERA is just horrible. Think what it would be without Jimmy Nelson. He kind of offsets a team ERA that's just brutal. And a .221 average against him.
Yeah, their starter's ERA, as we showed you earlier, worst in Major League Baseball. But Nelson leads by a run with Nick Markakis leading off. Nick walked his first time up and takes a strike. Braves had him loaded, nobody out in the 2nd. A line drive double play and a ground out took him out of the 2nd inning. Nothing in 2. That's just shy of the press box to our left, and Markakis is still alive.
One of the reports I heard on Nelson about his sliders that early in the game, it's kind of like a cutter. It's kind of up and in almost on left-handed hitters, and then as the game goes along, it becomes more like a slider that has some tilt to it. But his fastball right now is what is keeping everybody honest.
Yeah, he's like we talked about, you know, 93, 95 is one thing, but it's a heavy 93, 95. And as you mentioned, too, he's not afraid to pitch inside. So he's keeping guys honest in there.
Strike three, and Markakis knew that. So the man from Niceville, Florida, has nasty stuff like Julio Teheran tonight. One away.
And he hit a good spot here.
And I think that might have been one of those times where he actually missed his spot and it might have helped him. You see LaCroix setting up inside, and I think Nick might have been either thinking off speed or thinking inside, and that fastball ended up on the outside corner and froze him.
Tyler Flowers has one of the Braves' 2 hits. It came on an 0-2 pitch his first time up. And that one under the letters, called a strike. I mean, there's no mystery right now. Here it comes, boys. Hit it if you can.
No, that's that good old country hardball. Here you go. Try to hit it.
That's over the inside corner at the knees. And now Nelson's starting to dot that fastball. He struck out 4 straight Braves hitters.
Well, what's interesting to me is that these are called third strikes on fastballs. Guys typically behind in the count are going to try to shorten up a little bit and then look fastball and adjust to something else. But they're taking some fastballs right there.
Shift on for Kelly Johnson, who walked to load the bases his first time, and a line drive is speared right up the middle. That was Aaron Hill, I believe, that made the grab. It was. He was the man in the shift. A diving stop ends the Atlanta 4th inning. 3 up, 3 down. Hill, a diving catch, and he helped preserve a 1-run Milwaukee lead.
Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
Well, fans, 9 strikeouts is the most by any Braves starter this year. Julio Teheran has done it once, and he's already done it tonight. But the amazing part of it is he's only pitched 4 innings with those 9 strikeouts this evening. And he's got the bottom part of the Brewers order coming up with a chance to pump that total up. A Ryan Braun homer, the only run of the game. Hill poked a single to right his first time up, and he takes a strike. Hill came to the Brewers in the Gene Segura trade. pitch ripped foul and quickly 0-2. Hill will be a free agent at the end of the season. Had some big years with the Toronto Blue Jays. Had a 26 homer year with the Diamondbacks in 2012. Last year hit .230 for them. The Brewers taking a flyer on Aaron Hill, who's a plus 400 hitter coming into this season in his new home park in Milwaukee. Good try, but it missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ground ball towards short. Ibar's got it. He loads up. And Hill is out number 1. Here's Ramon Flores. It was the 4th strikeout of the 2nd inning for Teheran. He won't strike him out this time. Ground ball to second, takes care of the Milwaukee right fielder. 2 up and 2 men down. Julio is pitching another great game. He's done that all month. Just 3 earned runs for Teheran in 31 innings in the month of May. But the Braves just have not supported him with many, if any, runs. And it's easy for broadcasters to say, well, just go out and pitch your game, don't worry about it. But that's, I'm sure, Tommy, a whole lot easier said than done.
Well, it's easy to say, but it's what he has to do. You know, you can't. There's only, you know, you hear these cliches all the time in different parts of this game, but you know, this is true. You can't control what your offense does. You can only control what you're doing, and your job is to give your team a chance to win. And if they don't score runs, then there's nothing you can do about that. But the minute you start trying to pitch to throw a shutout or not to lose or whatever, now you're in trouble. You got to go out there and do your job and just hope that things turn around.
Nelson was very late. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Something might be worth watching. He's been kind of stretching his right leg, kind of kicking it around out there this inning, almost like a groin bothering him. He was doing some weird kind of spidery, got such long legs, spidery, kind of kicking his leg out to loosen it up some. I don't know if there's anything to it or not.
There's strike 3 and punch out number 10 for Julio Teheran. 3 up, 3 down, bottom of the 5th for Atlanta. 1-0 Milwaukee.
Brewers lead the Braves 1-0 headed into the bottom of the 5th, and it's time for our minor league update with T-Mobile. Greater coverage of baseball. Taking a look down there in Gwinnett, Manny Benuelos was activated, and then Dansby Swanson, you guys, he is still riding that hitting streak. He's at 10 games now. And then you have Max Posey. He has a 2.66 ERA and over 47 innings pitched. So I've said it before, and I will continue to say it every single game. The future is bright, so stay patient.
Yeah, Kelsey, look at that on Posey, that 47 innings pitched and 47 strikeouts against only 9 walks. Those are great numbers. And good news on Benuelos, too.
So, Kelsey, thank you for that great report. As the Braves come up in the 5th inning, Ibar will lead things off.
Julio Teheran up next is not out in the on-deck circle.
After that half inning, he did leave the Braves dugout bench and went down the steps, obviously out of sight of our cameras. So National League rules, you have to have someone on deck. Right now, that spot vacant.
I'm sure Ibar has probably been told to take a strike or two. Try and buy him a little more time, whatever they're doing with Julio.
Well, there he is. Maybe the call of nature. Never know.
It was a straight changeup. First one of those we've seen, I believe, from Nelson.
Oh, 2. And off the pitcher's glove, it deflects out to Scooter Gennett. Fast runner, and Ibar is going to reach. Infield hit for Ibar. And that's the 3rd Braves hit of the game, and that'll give Julio a chance to bunt him over.
That was going to be a base hit anyway. But a good chance, as you said, for Julio to help himself here by moving him along.
Julio's a very good bunter. He's laid down 3 sacrifices this year. Won't have a chance with that pitch. 1 ball, no strikes. Told that Julio has struck out more men in his last 4 innings than his last 22 starts. One ball, no strikes. There's the bunt. And it's a beauty. Only 1 play for Nelson. He threw a sinker to first, and a great play by Scooter Gennett to dig that out.
Scooter wasn't sure he had it either.
No, that's what you call a lawn dart there. That was straight into the ground.
Good bunt. Almost a little help.
So here's a spot where having Mallex Smith hitting 9th is an advantage. He's done a good job driving runs in from the number 9 slot. Mallex hitting .360 with runners in scoring position this year. And a high strike. Might be seeing a few more of those in the years to come. Talk about the proposed strike zone changes for next year. And that at the very top limit of Mallex Smith's strike zone.
Great clutch work there.
Oh, 2. Alex, the key man in the inning. Runner at second, one out, but he's in a 2-strike hole.
Two off-speed pitches to get the strike two. See if they throw a fastball somewhere to try and get him to chase and go back to something else, or just try to put him away.
Down the right field line, base hit. Ibar scores to tie it. Malik's around second. They miss the cutoff man. It's a stand-up triple. Does it again with a runner in scoring position, and the game's tied at 1.
It looked like that attempt at a cutter, Tommy.
Yep. Didn't quite get it in as far as they wanted to. That's a good piece of hitting too, though. That's a cutter on the inside corner. It's a hard pitch to keep fair.
And when it gets down in the corner with Malik's running, it's almost an automatic triple.
So the infield comes in for Milwaukee, and Ender Inciarte up with a double to his credit tonight. And isn't it funny, the Braves were the last team in Major League Baseball to record a triple this year. Had a handful of them on the road trip. Braves now have 4 3-base hits this season. The second by Mallex Smith here to tie it for Julio. That's fouled at the plate, and quickly 0-2. That's down the left field line.
One of the things about Inciarte's road trip, and his average was 250. Well, that raised his average up over 200, but he was better than that. He was moving runners over. He was hitting a sacrifice fly or two. He was handling the bat in these type situations real well.
A fly ball with some depth would put the Braves in front. Check swing and fouled back. And Joe, that doesn't even factor how well he played defensively on the road trip.
Yeah. Really covers some ground gap to gap.
Swing and a miss. Lucroy looks Smith back to third and throws a strike to first. And that's number 7 for Nelson. Smith 90 feet away with 2 outs for Gordon Beckham.
Good job of pitching there by Jimmy Nelson. Getting Inciarte to chase that breaking ball in the dirt.
Nelson struck out 9 in his second start of the year against Houston. That's his season high. His career high is 11 against the Cubs last year. And that threat of speed at third base puts a little more pressure on that man in case Nelson throws one in the dirt. Freddie Freeman's on deck if Beckham can reach.
Well, he's got to figure he's going to see a pitch hit here. One of these two pitches. Freddie on deck.
A lot of high strikes from Hamari tonight.
Yeah, and that's a called strike that hitters will never like.
Nope.
That hit him. A glancing blow on the forearm to Gordon Beckham, it appeared, and Freddie Freeman will hit with 2 on and 2 outs. And Craig Counsell might need a drink of water.
Right across the knuckles, I think. So slight that Lucroy was able to catch the pitch.
Yeah, if you're going to get hit in the hand by a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, that's how you want to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's time for Freddie to break out of it with runners in scoring position. He struck out with Inciarte at second and the Braves third. And a real surprising number for Freeman has been such a big 2-out run producer for the Braves and big run producer in any situation over the years. Freddie at the moment just 5 for 33 this year with runners in scoring position.
Oh, good time to start turning that around.
There you go. No balls at a strike. Wow, what a stop by Lucroy. That saved a run.
Been watching a lot of hockey playoffs, Stanley Cup stuff. This was very goalie-like.
That's glove saving a beauty there.
Uh-huh.
Did he go? Yes, he did. Dan Bellino is the third base umpire. 1 and 2.
He went. What a save by Lucroy on that pitch. He's been ahead of hitters this inning. He was ahead of Alex Smith before the triple. Now ahead of Freddie.
Down the left field line, but punched foul. Another 1-2 count. Freddie didn't chase that. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That is a tough pitch to lay off too. When the guy's throwing this hard and you see it out of his hand at eye level, especially behind in the count, that is such a hard pitch to lay off. And you know he wants to drive that run in. Good take.
Now it's 2 and 2. Popped up left side over near the Brewer dugout. Tough time to see the ball in the air, and Hill was shielding his eyes trying to get a view of the baseball. He had no play. And Freddie is still alive.
I always look at the outfielders on those plays. Neuenhuis had no idea where that ball went, neither did Flores. And they were letting Scooter Gennett know they need help.
Straightened him up inside, but missed. 3 balls, 2 strikes. So Beckham will get a head start from first base on a full count pitch with 2 outs. There goes Gordon, the pitch. Fly ball well hit toward left. Drifting back Braun. He's on the warning track. Overran it, but made the play. He didn't see that till the last instant. And Ryan Braun, a step shy of the wall in left, hauls in Freeman's drive. And the Braves offense settles for 1 in the home 5th. Freddie just missed. But the Braves have tied it up 1-1. Pitchers duel tonight. That's exactly what we've gotten. Ryan Braun's hit a homer. The Braves got a triple from Mallex Smith, and Nelson and Teheran are dealing.
I tell you what, Julio is really dealing. 10 punch outs in 5 innings. Mallex came through in a big way again.
So that's your Mazda game summary. Julio Teheran with 10 strikeouts goes to the top of the Brewers order. Villar, Gennett, and the villain Ryan Braun. And that one's shot into center field. Base hit.
Long rest in the dugout for Julio, and getting whatever attention he needed. Keep an eye on him, make sure he's okay.
So Julio goes to the stretch with the speedy Villar at first base. Milwaukee as a team has stolen 33 bases this year. That's the most stolen bases in the National League, and Villar has 14 of them.
It's probably a reflection of Craig Counsell and his style. First full year as the manager for the Brewers. He was an aggressive base runner.
Villar 1 ahead of Starling Marte of the Pirates in steals. And he's got a big lead. That's the good news part of the equation. Bad news is Joey also leads the league in being caught. He's been caught 6 times. Mallex Smith second on that list with 5 caught stealings for the Braves. Two 2-0 count for Gennett. The cat and mouse game, of course, here is, you know about Julio Teheran's terrific pickoff move. He's picked off 2 base runners this year and 21 since the start of the 2013 season. Might come in handy here in the Brewers' 6th.
I love the fact that Julio over the years has learned not to show his best move quickly. You know, don't show your best one your first throw over. Lure him to a sense of confidence and then get him.
He's going. Pitch, ground ball towards second. There'll be one play. It's to first. And sending the runner kept Milwaukee out of the double play.
Well, what might have helped there, if it was a straight hit and run, they might have had the second baseman covering, but with a left-handed hitter up, the shortstop's covering when the runner broke, so that left Kelly Johnson right in the way of that ground ball, and that frustrated Jeanette.
See what Ibar did there? Sliding to his right, looking up in the sky, thinking maybe he'd get VR to buy that it was a pop-up. But a middle infielder himself, VR wasn't buying what Ibar was selling. Now Braun hits. He's 1 for 2 with a homer. There are a lot of things that make Ryan Braun dangerous, as I said, with runners at second and third base. He has been extremely impressive for Milwaukee this year. A .436 average with runners in scoring position.
Wow.
That's a 17 for 39 mark. And in those 39 at bats, Braun has struck out 3 times.
Well, he's 0-2 here. See if Julio can put him away.
Yeah, they don't seem to be too concerned about those numbers. They're going right at him.
And he got a good pitch to hit there and missed it.
That's driven foul, headed for the upper deck. And Braun is still alive.
This guy stands about as deep in the box as anybody we've seen this year, and with that back line obliterated, he may well be out of the box now. That back foot very close to being out of the box. As long as your foot is touching some part of the line, you're okay. But I would say that that line right there is well inside his foot.
One ball, 2 strikes.
And it's okay for a catcher to ask the umpire or point it out. And you've seen umpires before grab the bat and make his own line or use his foot to draw a line to let the hitter know that he can't stand behind that.
Ibar at short, runner to third, throw to third, he's out. VR broke toward third with the ball hit right in front of him. There's a gift. A 6-5 putout is the second out of the inning, and Braun's at first.
Take it.
You bet. That was a vapor lock. A bit of an in-between hop there for Eric too, but he handled it.
To quote the great Charlie Slows of the Nationals broadcast, where was he going? What was he doing? What was he thinking? Braves will happily take the break as Lucroy bats and didn't get it, a strike. As a baseball fan, I hope this guy can stay on the field in 2016. He's a really good player. And the one that really scares you, look, broken toes, things like that happens. It's the concussion thing that scares you the most, I would assume.
Well, as a catcher too, with all the foul tips they take off the face, head. Once you get one, I would imagine it's a big concern.
He needs to get one of Tyler Flowers' masks with those springs on it.
Yeah. But I'm with you. I like watching him play. I don't see him very much, but one of those guys I like watching.
Julio's worked around a leadoff single to VR, who made a base running mistake. Braun's at first with 2 outs. And Lucroy with an 0 for 2 start to his night. Digs in and takes a fastball high. It's 1-2.
And as you might suspect, a guy with a name like Lucroy went to the University of Louisiana Lafayette, or Lafayette as they might say down there.
That's high and tight. With 10 strikeouts, you can understand why Teheran's pitch count is going to be over 90 with his next. Brewers have 3 hits, one of them the Braun homer.
Tell you what, though, even with 9 strikeouts, 90 pitches, get through 6 innings, that's pretty good. Ten strikeouts, sorry.
Two balls, 2 strikes. We've reached 9 o'clock in Atlanta. Joe, Tom, Kelsey, and Chip with you at Turner Field for Game 1 with the Brew Crew. And LaCroix putting up a big-time fight here. Swing and a miss. Teheran has his 11th strikeout, and he's very happy. Jonathan Villar made a big base running mistake. That helps keep the game tied at 1 apiece. Double digits for Julio Teheran, number 11. 1-1 game. On Braves Live, presented by Xfinity. We'll check in with skipper Brian Snitker, who's managing his first game at home as the Braves manager. We'll also head to the clubhouse to hear from the players on Braves Live, presented by Xfinity, after Game 1 of the series. Nick Markakis leads off against Jimmy Nelson. It has been strikeout palooza tonight between these two starters. We've seen 18 of them. Teheran with 11, Nelson with 7.
Milwaukee just keeps doing their part, right? We talked about it coming in. They like to strike out.
90th straight game with 5 or more, and the 6th straight game with 10 or more.
Well, they've lost 3 in a row. Braves trying to hand them a 4th consecutive defeat tonight. They've got to beat the Brewers' best. And Nelson off to a 3-ball, no strike count to Nick Markakis. And that just missed. Leadoff walk in a close game. Let's see if Atlanta can cash it in. The Brewers bullpen begins to work.
Chris Capuano and Walton High School, Marietta, Georgia native Blaine Boyer on the right.
Here's Tyler Flowers. He's 1 for 2 with a single and a strikeout. Boy, Tyler and Teheran have a good pitcher-catcher chemistry working. As that one's hammered to straightaway center, and a leaping grab by Nieuwenhuis. Can't hit it any harder than Tyler Flowers just did, and Nelson loves the effort. Might have saved him a run.
Might have saved him the game. That was a 1-iron, and watch how quick this swing was. Just all hands. Nice play. Boy, that was hit hard.
So a fine play by Nieuwenhuis robs Flowers. Kelly Johnson's the batter. He had a rocket up the middle that Aaron Hill dived for and caught. He was the man in the shift. Kelly's also walked. And a strike. As Joe mentioned earlier, for Jimmy Nelson, this is his 2nd career start in this ballpark. He lost a 2-1 decision in his first game at Turner Field. He's in a 1-1 game, middle innings tonight.
And ironically, exactly a year ago today. Oh.
How in the world did he hit that?
I don't know, but that would have been a thing of beauty.
Yeah. Would have been a double off the knuckles.
Collarbone high, jammed him, and he broke his bat, and he hit it foul past third.
There's wood chips flying everywhere.
Way high. That stretched out LaCroix's left arm. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. That takes care of Kelly. That was pitch number 100. 2 out.
Got him to chase a bad ball. There's that one you see so well, and it's hard to lay off.
8 strikeouts for Nelson, 1 shy of his season high. He's got Ibar, then pitcher Julio Teheran. Ibar lined out to third. Had an infield hit and scored the Braves run after Malik Smith tripled him home. And this one's popped up left side. Hill gives chase over near the Brewers dugout. He's going to have enough room to reach in over the railing. And that will retire the side. Markakis left stranded at first after a leadoff walk. Aaron Hill's made a couple of good plays defensively tonight. That one sends us to the 7th, still tied.
Out 11 through 6 innings of play. Here's a taste of some of that on our Zaxby's indescribably good play. A good mix of pitches. Fastball, there was a good sinker. Chased one upstairs, up and in. He's had a good slider. Everything's working for Julio. He just hung one pitch to Ryan Braun that turned into a home run back in the 4th.
Yeah, I liked it. What I think in the stretch of 5 starts where he's been really good lately, it seems to me, watching him, whether it be here or on TV, I think the one thing he seems to have gotten back to more of doing is what he did when in his first year or 2 in the big leagues, which is pitching inside a lot more. I don't know where that went for some reason, but it seemed like there was a lot of games that I would watch at home, and you just see from hitter to hitter, there'd just be that small cluster of pitches on the outer portion of the plate, and just wasn't doing much to keep guys honest in, and he seems to be doing it more now.
I couldn't agree more. And there was a game, and I'm sure we could find out which one it was or go back and figure it out, where I think he was getting knocked around a little bit and he walked some guys, and then it was like something came over him and he just said to heck with this and started challenging guys and airing it out, and since then he's been lights out.
I remember specifically you saying during one of Julio's starts earlier this year, Joe, and it might have been game against the Dodgers. Gave up 2 runs in 5 1/3 innings, and you said, I remember that guy.
Yeah, I recognize that guy.
It's either that one or the Boston game.
I want to say it was a little later, like Boston. But it was like, okay, this, like Tom just said, I've seen this before.
And that can, that sometimes going out there and getting knocked around a little bit is a good thing, because it does do that. It ticks you off. and you start saying, all right, whatever I'm doing here, that trying to avoid mistakes, trying not to lose, not having that aggressiveness, you just kind of throw caution to the wind and go get them.
Well, in his first 4 starts, Julio Teheran gave up 6, 2, 4, and 6 earned runs. Since then, he's given up 6 total earned runs in 7 starts.
That's a turnaround.
So whether it was the Dodger game that he got a no decision or that game against the Red Sox that he lost, whatever light switch got switched on, it hadn't switched off for quite some time.
Cut down on his walks. Batting average has gone drastically down, so fewer base runners, and until tonight, no homers.
Full count pitch to Carter, and he strikes out for a 3rd time. That's 12 for Teheran and a new career high for Julio.
There's one right after this guy. Another fastball, letter high.
He's throwing that fastball right by him.
Carter strikes out once every 2.99 plate appearances, the most for any player with 2,000 plate appearances or more since 1913 in big league history.
Well, tonight he's striking out every 2 innings.
Yes, he is. But if you make a mistake, he can hit it a country mile. Here's Neuenhuis. He's struck out twice tonight. Right off his hands and out to second. Easy play for the 2nd out. And here's Aaron Hill. Got to be careful with this guy. 4 homers for Hill. 3 of them, though, came in 1 game, May 7th against the Reds. He had 3 homers, 7 RBIs. One of those homers was a grand slam.
Well, like you said, he had one season, what, 26 homers, you said? He's got some pop in his bat, and he's real quick in the middle of the plate in.
Interesting decision coming up for Brian Snitker. Julio's supposed to lead off for Atlanta when the home 7th begins. You've got a tie game. Pitch count at 103. A day off yesterday. And the Braves bullpen with 32 appearances in 10 games on the road trip.
I'll be looking for a pinch hitter.
Yeah, leading off an inning, I think it's far more likely. There was 2 outs and nobody on. I'd say let him hit and give me another inning.
His high in pitches for a game is 115. And this one's popped up to shallow center, and NCRT is there. Julio Teheran, another brilliant performance. Let's see if Atlanta can get him a run after the stretch. 1-1's your score.
Into the home half of the 7th inning, and it is time for your Xfinity game break. We'll head over to Washington, where the Nats are hosting the Mets. Washington trailed 1-0, but back-to-back home runs in the 4th off of Matt Harvey by Zimmerman, and Anthony Rendon would take over the lead. Harvey finished with 5 runs in 5 innings, and the Nats currently lead 5-2.
Okay, Kelsey, thank you very much. It's one of the great mysteries. What's up with Matt Harvey? Nothing working for the Mets right-hander so far in 2016. And Washington blasting away at Nationals Park. New pitcher for Milwaukee, Michael Blazek, is the first man on in relief of Jimmy Nelson, who went 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run allowed.
Yeah, he can't be a whole lot better than Nelson was. Mid-90s fastball, curve and a slider. He's been in a lot of games already, a lot of walks along with a lot of strikeouts, and as we thought, a pinch hitter for Julio.
And that pinch hitter is Reed Brignac. Another spectacular outing for Teheran. Career high in strikeouts, 7 innings, 3 hits, a run. No walks again for Julio, and 12 strikeouts. The only blemish, the home run to Ryan Braun.
Those two guys are working well together.
Only 2 earned runs this season for Julio Teheran in games that Tyler Flowers has caught. With the Braves righty on the mound. So Blazek, who came over from the Cardinals in a trade for John Axford in September of 2013, is on. 1-5, lost 3 over 55 2/3 last year. Had a broken hand in mid-August. Went to the 60-day disabled list, and that obviously ended his year for Milwaukee last season. And Joe, stop me if I've said this before.
Stop. Oh.
Blazek was a 35th round pick by the Cardinals. They've gotten so much mileage out of those late round draft picks. But now he's a member of the Brew Crew. 2-2 pitch. Woo! Strike 3 called outside corner. Brignac caught looking, 1 down. 21 strikeouts combined in this game. Brignac thought it was low and away. Was it?
Yes.
Yep.
Target was outside and he had to move his glove over there to get it. See if Malix tries to put one down here.
He pulled the bat back. Ball 1. And Adam Hamari yells into the Braves dugout, that's enough. One ball, no strikes. Almost hit him.
It hit something.
I don't know. It didn't.
Must have hit Lucroy's glove. Yeah, right off the web of the glove, and you're right. I don't know how it missed his leg, Tom. Quick, that's how.
Three balls and a strike. A walk's as good as a hit.
Might be as good as a double.
We'll find out. 1 out free pass and a tie game. Top of the order coming up.
I'm thinking you got to try at some point, right?
Yeah, and I would guess that Brian Snitker has a sign for a green light, not necessarily a straight, a sign to steal, but put him on his own so that if he feels like he gets a good jump, go.
Lucroy's thrown out 14 of 43 would-be base stealers, a 33% success rate. Alex has a good lead. And he's back standing up.
I think Blazek's got a better move than that. That was a step back and throw over. Yep. Tried to Julio him.
Another close game for Milwaukee. They've played 9 consecutive decided by 2 or fewer runs. 6 of those 9 decided by 1 run. We're tied 1-1 in the Atlanta 7th.
Bo Porter giving Mallex Smith signs. Jonathan Lucroy looking in the Brewers dugout for signs on potential pitch out.
Not going, swing and a miss. 0-1 for Inciarte. He's going. Swing, line drive towards center. Nieuwenhuis is back. He makes the catch. And Mallex has to hustle back to first, and he'll belly flop in safely ahead of the relay throw. 2 outs. Let's see if Beckham can keep it alive. He's 0 for 2 and was hit by a pitch last time up.
How about those numbers? Best in baseball. Late in the ball game. I don't like this first pitch to go here. You went on the pitch before. They've early in the count. They've got an opportunity to pitch out if they want, without doing too much damage.
The Brewers outfield straight away, normal depth for Beckham. Another half step on the lead for Smith at first. He started, didn't get a good break, and didn't go. Strike 1.
Won't know till tomorrow, asking Gordon if he was going to take a strike just to give him a chance to go, or if he took that because he thought he was going.
He's going now. Pitch a ball. Lucroy's throw is off target. And Smith popped up and nearly came off the second base bag. Let's see if the Brewers take a look.
Yeah, Jeanette, I don't know if he kept the tag on him or not, but I thought his foot did come off, Chip. Right there. Was the glove still on him? Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be out. So Mallex Smith with a pop-up slide called safe, but a heads-up play by Jeanette kept the tag on right there, and Mallex was off the base. And Mallex Smith looking on the center field scoreboard. He beat the throw, but the pop-up is what the crowd sees, and the Brewers start to walk off the field thinking this will be an easy reversal.
Yep.
And sadly it is. So Mallex Smith is the third out for Atlanta. He came off the base after stealing second in the seventh. Call is overturned. Game tied 1 apiece. What a ball game. Excellent pitching by the starters Nelson and Teheran. Now it's battle of the bullpens. Blazek with a scoreless inning. Now Bud Norris, who's really turned his season around for Atlanta since he went to the bullpen.
Yeah, a lot of that damage you see there is because he was giving up a lot of runs as a starter. His last start came at Boston on April 27th. An inning and a third, 7 hits, 2 walks, and 6 runs scored. But as a reliever, much better.
And he's got the bottom of the Brewer batting card coming up. Flores, a pinch hitter, and then Jonathan Villar. Well, a couple of plays in this game. Looming very large. Bases loaded, nobody out for Atlanta in the second. Couldn't score. Villar at second. 1 out. Ran into a big out at third base. And Norris with a quick strike gets ahead of Ramon Flores, who was 0 for 2 against Julio Teheran. Braves bullpen has had improved numbers in May. Bullpen ERA in April 5.10. Bullpen ERA this month 3.90. And the most noticeable number is they've dramatically cut down their walks. Not nearly as many free passes issued by Atlanta's relief corps. And Bud Norris a big part of that. 1 ball 2 strikes for Flores. Alex Presley will be the pinch hitter for Milwaukee. He's on deck. That just missed. It's 2-2.
Tie game late in the ball game. It's always important to keep that first guy off the sacks. Oh.
No swing.
Two pretty tough ones to take there.
Uh-huh.
And wouldn't you know it, leadoff walk. So it will be Alex Presley, the pride of the University of Mississippi. And Presley will bat for Blazek, who gave up a walk in his inning.
Presley can handle the bat if they decide to bunt. Here are those splits for Bud Norris, a 1.32 ERA in 7 games out of the pen.
Line on Blazek, 1 inning, 1 walk, 1 strikeout.
Presley, you'll recall, came up with the Pirates. He's also been with Minnesota and Houston. He's done a nice job in a pinch for the Brewers this year. 3 for 6 with a home run. That home run was a 2-run shot off Hector Neris of the Phillies.
Yeah, he's a solid player. Do a lot of things to help you win a game. He's a good defender too.
Was a non-roster player this spring for Milwaukee. Was called up April 21st after hitting .344 in 9 games at Colorado Springs. And Bud missed high. 1 ball, no strikes.
No sign of a bunt. Ed Cedar, the third base coach, been with the Brewers for a long time, through several managers.
There's a strike. It's an even count. Well, hope Mr. Baseball Bob Uecker's watching the game tonight. Bob's cut back his broadcast schedule. He's not doing a whole lot of traveling for Milwaukee this year. 61 years in pro baseball. And a former Brave. Had one of the great lines of all time when he was asked about the difficulty of trying to catch Phil Niekro's knuckleball. He said it's easy. Just walk back to the backstop, pick it up, and throw it back to him.
He's had some good lines over the years.
Just missed. Norris didn't get a close pitch. 2 balls and a strike.
That's not a whole lot different than the one he called on Brignac.
No, probably closer.
Yeah.
Two and two.
I say I'm a little surprised they're not bunting here.
I'm very surprised, given Craig Counsell and the way he played the game. Pat Murphy's his bench coach, former college coach, who was actually with the Padres last year when Bud Black got fired. Murphy took over on an interim basis. But I believe Craig Counsell played for him at Notre Dame.
That's correct. Jeff Francoeur played for him with the El Paso Chihuahuas. He was the Padres AAA manager at the time of Black's dismissal. Swing and a miss. No bunt, no advance to the runner. And the 13th Brewer to strike out in the game. Thank you very much. There's out number 1.
Yeah, especially with the top of the order coming up. Maybe they'll try something here, like a hit and run. I'm guessing, I don't know, but I'm guessing that from the standpoint of Craig Counsell, it's like, hey, we swing and miss so much. It's kind of hard to put on a play. That's why I thought maybe the bunt was in order.
Again, the Brewers averaging almost 10 strikeouts a game. They're well over that tonight. And a pickoff. Flores is nailed by Norris. And the Brewers have shot themselves in the foot on the base paths a couple of times tonight. VR once running the bases. This time Flores picked off in a tie game. And Milwaukee will check the replay. And the Brewers want to take a look. This is a no-lose replay for Craig Counsell. If you win it, you get your runner back at first base. If you lose it, at least made him take a look at it.
Well, you lose it, you don't get another one. It didn't appear to me that Flores was going anywhere. He just got too far off the sack.
That really wasn't very close. And what helps the Braves in this situation is the consistent refrain. Is there enough evidence to overturn the call?
I don't think there is. I mean, it's hard to tell if he tags him on the shoulder or the elbow, but if he tags him on the shoulder, it's not close. But if it's the elbow, it's a little closer, but I don't think there's enough to change it.
And they won't.
So the Brewers lose the challenge. They also lose the base runner. And VR will hit with 2 outs and a strike 1 count. The call stands.
And that's the look of a, you have to be kidding me. We just got picked off right there.
Yeah.
And probably even more so to your point, Joe, because we weren't going anywhere.
Right.
Call stands. Estimated time of the review.
1 ball, 1 strike for VR.
Yeah, there's a little look of disgust there for certain.
By the way, I like that Milwaukee baseball cap they're wearing. Remember the old, a couple of years ago, they had the Brewer with the grain of wheat across the M. Like the baseball looking logo like they had in their American League days.
Yeah, that's always been one of my favorite logos.
Very well done. 1-2 pitch from Norris, missed inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, if you can get out of any kind of trouble here, you've got Beckham, Freeman, and Markakis coming up for Atlanta. Brewers will have a new reliever after Blazek was pinch hit for with Alex Presley. And Norris missed outside. Another walk, 2 in the inning. And Scooter Gennett is coming up with an 0-for-3 game. Oh, what a scoop by Freeman. If that gets past him, VR's maybe at third base.
This would be the pitch I would run on if he has any thoughts of running.
Outfield swings around toward left for Scooter Gennett. And Norris missed outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Bud's throwing hard, but doesn't have the aimage quite yet.
I like that aimage. Hasn't pitched inside much either.
Joe mentioned earlier, Scooter Gennett has been walking like crazy, at least for him. 12 walks last year. He's got 12 already this year. And he's in command with a 2-0 count. And Ryan Braun waiting on deck.
No, thank you.
Two balls and a strike. Runner goes. Big jump. Flowers' throw is short hopped and safe. VR got in under the tag of Ibar. And Milwaukee has the go-ahead run in scoring position on a stolen base. Now the Braves will take a look at video review.
The short hop is so hard for an infielder to keep his glove low. You got to come up, then come back down.
Whoa.
I think his little finger was off the bag. Nice play by Ibar. Kept the tag on him. Was there a gap between the foot and the hand on the base?
I think the foot definitely came off. I don't know if that hand stayed on.
Apparently not enough for the Braves challenge. So the league's leading base stealer is successful in the 8th. And Norris a 3-1 count for Scooter Gennett, who took one right down Hank Aaron Avenue. Full count.
Got to make this guy swing the bat. Can't be tricky here. Don't want to face the guy on deck.
Three-two pitch. Line drive, base hit, right field. Here comes VR around third. Ed Cedar's going to wave him. Markakis' throw is on the way and off target. So 2 walks in the inning. The Brewers cash the second one and a steal in and take a 2-1 lead over Bud Norris and the Braves.
Well, he did make him swing it. Right down Hank Aaron Avenue again. So as bad as the base running was earlier in the inning, they're still able to parlay a walk into a run.
And they did it with a stolen base, which has been a big part of their offensive attack all year. It's now a 2-1 Brewers lead, and Braun versus Norris in the 8th inning, 2 outs, and a ground ball to first. That's a fair ball, and Freeman snagged that. Great play at first by Freddie Freeman, and that's going to retire the side. Bud Norris struggled with his command. A walk, a stolen base, and a 2-out hit from Scooter Gennett has put Milwaukee in front 2-1.
Sponsored by your local Toyota dealers, Let's Go Places, the Georgia Lottery, and Zaxby's Indescribably Good.
2-1 Milwaukee, and that presents some problems for the Braves over the final 2 innings. We'll talk about that after we remind you the Grammy Award winner Chris Stapleton's taken the country music by storm, and he's coming to Turner Field this Sunday for a free post-game concert, part of the Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines Summer Concert Series. Go to Braves.com/concerts and get your tickets today.
Well, that was pretty cool right there. Those lights and everything make you whim whammy.
Whim whammy?
Uh-huh.
Well, the Brewers bullpen makes the opponent's whim whammy.
This guy's been pretty good. 7 walks at 29 strikeouts in 18 innings. He's only been scored upon in 3 of his 19 outings.
And he's recorded at least 1 strikeout in every appearance this year. And that's 1 shy of a Brewer record. He's got 19 straight games with a strikeout. 20's the record held by John Axford.
95, 96 fastball with a curve.
And the way the strikeouts have been racked up in this game, he's the perfect guy in the perfect spot for Milwaukee. We've seen 22 combined strikeouts, grand total of 8 hits between these two clubs. And it's not just been Blazek and Thornburg. The Brewers relief corps has a 1.61 ERA over their last 16 games. And they'll try to protect a 2-1 lead here in the 8th.
Nice play by Matt Garza.
One ball, 2 strikes. 96 and just outside and high.
Remember a while ago when I said something about Nelson having easy gas? Nothing easy about this. This is max effort.
Fly ball toward left. Braun on the run. He's going to get there and makes a diving catch. Remember, Braun played right field for Milwaukee for a while. He's much more comfortable in left, and he made a good running grab for the first out.
It's a good play. He made closed a lot of ground on that ball.
Yeah, I thought I had a chance to drop.
I did too.
Freddie Freeman 0 for 3 tonight. Thornburg will provide the power. Let's see if Freddie can get one out in front and get this thing tied. Oh, and 2. Thornburg went to Charleston Southern University, was a pitcher and an outfielder. He lives in Charlotte in the offseason. 27 years old, and a 1-2 count. Sharply hit, but into the shift, and from shallow right field, Freddie Freeman is thrown out by Scooter Gennett. 2 out.
See, here's what I don't get. They ship more than anybody else in the National League. They go by whatever book they have, but they get the tying run on base leading off the 8th inning, and they didn't bunt. So there's a contradiction there to me that I can't figure out.
Why? Maybe you're right. With all the strikeouts they rack up, maybe he just feels they've got to try to win the game defensively and with their pitching than to try to consistently put the ball in play.
Well, they are running, as you pointed out, and especially the guy at the top of the order, and that set everything up with that steal.
Markakis ahead in the count. He has walked twice, struck out once. And he had a good pass at that pitch. 2-1 your count. If just joining us, Julio Teheran started for the Braves and was brilliant. 7 innings of 3 hit, 12 strikeout, no walk ball. Jimmy Nelson gave up a run in 6 innings on 4 hits. Braun had a solo homer. Alex Smith an RBI triple. And this ball is hammered towards center. Neuenhuis going back. And at the edge of the track, he hauls it in to send our game to the 9th inning. Brewers took the lead in the 8th on an RBI hit from Scooter Gennett. They'll try to add to their lead. 2-1 going to the 9th.
Plays, and they happen in the 8th inning with 2 out, a walk to the leadoff man Villar, and he swipes his 15th base of the year, and that set up Scooter Gennett on a 3-2 count with Ryan Braun on deck. He got a fastball, and Gennett delivered RBI single to put the Brewers on top.
So Alexi Ogando is on to pitch for Atlanta, the 3rd hurler of the night for Brian Snitker. He'll face Lucroy, Carter, and Neuenhuis. Got to hold him right here and hope that the Braves can rally in the bottom of the 9th inning. Game number 21 for Alexi. He's pitched 20 innings. Two strikeout night for Lucroy.
Brewers have an opportunity to do something they don't do very often. When they score 3 runs or less, they are 3-19. They've got a chance to improve on that tonight if they can get 3 more outs.
Sharply hit, short hop, picked up by Kelly Johnson. And that takes care of Lucroy for out number 1. Hope you'll stay tuned after the game for Braves Live, presented by Xfinity. First, the nice replay.
Good glove work there.
Now you can stay tuned for Braves Live, presented by Xfinity. America, we owed you one. 2-1 game here in the 9th. And Chris Carter. Brewers' big first baseman has struck out 3 times. Carter was originally a Chicago White Sox farmhand, was traded to Arizona for Carlos Quentin, then went to Oakland for Dan Herron, then to Houston for Jed Lowry, and made his way to Milwaukee as a free agent. Remember, they had Adam Lind over there at first base last year, big home run hitter. They've lost a lot of pop. Chris Davis was a 27 home run guy. Lind hit 20, and Aramis Ramirez retired.
But I think if my numbers are right, they turned 9 guys, including Lind, who was traded to Seattle. They turned 9 guys into 16 guys.
Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Sounds very familiar. So they're trying to find some players in quantity. Remember Carlos Lee?
Yes.
Doesn't this guy remind you a little bit of him?
El Caballo.
Yeah. I mean, Lee was a much better hitter for average, but still had the same kind of pop.
Even though he strikes out a lot, this is a guy that scares you, doesn't he?
Yeah,
with his
absolutely.
With his power. And we've talked about it a lot. Is there a rarer commodity in Major League Baseball in 2016 than raw power at the corner positions in our league, especially?
Some people would say there's a dearth of power.
Does that fall into the whammy category of descriptions? Swing and a miss. That's 4 for Carter tonight. And 2 up and 2 down. MLB.Premium is the #1 live streaming sports service. It delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Your subscription includes @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Go to MLB.TV for details.
Man, Pittsburgh 12-1 over Arizona in the 8th. I think that was a Shelby Miller game.
It was. Shelby Miller pitched tonight. 1-5, a 6.64 ERA. Miller 8 runs of support in his last 7 games.
He's used to that too.
Yep. And by the way, thoughts and prayers to Ryan Vogelsong.
Yeah.
Hit by a pitch in the face last night, or yesterday I should say, and he is still hospitalized. Apparently Ryan's wife sent out news via social media that he's doing fine, but apparently doctors can't really do anything until the swelling subsides. And hopefully Ryan Vogelsong, who has spanned the globe to keep his pitching career going, will get back real soon. Doing Ice made a good catch in center, as Joe said at the time, might have saved the game, as he couldn't stop himself. Great leaping grab off the bat of Tyler Flowers, with Nick Markakis aboard for Atlanta, leading off inning number 6. Swing and a miss. Boy, Ogando had great stuff tonight, didn't he? Day of rest refreshed his arm. A 96-mile-an-hour fastball sends us to the bottom of the 9th inning. Atlanta's down a run.
Time for crickets, something to smile about. And tonight, it's not just a moment, but it is a performance that covered 7 innings, and that was Julio Teheran.
Yeah, he was fantastic. As we talked about how well he's been pitching coming in, and added to that tonight, 7 innings, no walks, 12 strikeouts, and 12 strikeouts in a variety of ways. Breaking balls, fastballs, inside, outside. He was in command tonight, and unfortunately, it's the same old story. No run support.
Well, he's not going to get a decision either way, but maybe the Braves can figure out a way to get a couple off Jim Jeffress.
Jeremy Jeffress on for the 21st time. Remember when things were going so badly for the Milwaukee Brewers, a lot of that had to do with some bad luck in the draft. Jeffress was a #1 pick in 2006. Went to Kansas City in the Zach Greinke deal, and then the Brewers signed him back as a free agent in 2014. He was 5-0 out of the bullpen last year. He had a grand total of 1 major league save coming into this season, and that was 5 years ago. He's 11 for 12 this year.
And yes, he throws hard. That was 96. He can bump it up a little bit from there with a curveball.
Jeffress, a Virginia native, went to Halifax County High School. Also a basketball player there. And he's got Tyler Flowers leading things off. 2-1, Milwaukee the lead. A squibber down the line, foul. That would have been extra bases.
Jeffress is not exactly blowing everybody away. He's got 13 strikeouts in 19 innings, but he's also given up 19 hits in 19 innings for a .268 average, but only 4 walks.
He's gotten ahead of Flowers, and that's taken low. Much different look, quite obviously, in the Milwaukee bullpen. K-Rod's not there. Francisco Rodriguez, who saved 38 games last year for a Brewer team that won just 68 times. I wonder if that's something that's going to be a sea change in the way baseball teams are put together now. Instead of having a designated big money closer, get a guy that can throw strikes, throw hard, and throw them out there and get the final 3 outs.
I think it is. Personally, I'm not going to say the day of investing a huge contract in a closer is all but done, but
Ground ball third. Hill played it nicely, and Carter dug it out at first. That was a tough play. And there's the all-important first out in the ninth. 1 down.
But think of this. All we do is talk about every guy that comes in out of the bullpen throwing 95 or 96. It's not like you can't find those guys somewhere.
No, but if you're a team that is, I think, a serious contender, man, that having that proven guy versus that guy that you're kind of on the edge of your seat, not real sure what you're going to get, man, it's a huge commodity to have.
Experience is certainly something,
but how do you get it unless you put them out there?
No, obviously. I think teams like this can afford to do it this way.
Yeah. Right.
You know.
But 15, 20 years ago, every bullpen didn't have 6 guys throwing 95, so that's what made the Craig Kimbrel-like pitchers that much more valuable, I would think.
No, I agree, but again, I think there's going to be some teams out there that's kind of maybe the last piece of their puzzle.
Broken bat, little flare. That bat goes down a hero, and the tying runs aboard for Atlanta with 1 out.
It's a good thing, too, because Kelly's out of bats.
Yeah, that's 2 tonight.
Yeah, that's 2, and he got robbed, remember, on 1 line drive, so he got a little payback here. And Heaney's called his bat maker. That looked like it was right off the end of the bat. Tying run aboard.
$15,185 is tonight's attendance. Braves trying to steal one from Milwaukee in the 9th. Ibar has scored the lone Braves run. Malik Smith tripled him home back in the 5th. And off the plate, ball 2.
For a 1-run lead in the bottom of the 9th, their outfield's playing pretty shallow. Normally here, you want to prevent a double that might allow the runner to score from first. But Neuenhuis and Flores in center and right especially, pretty much normal depth, if not a little shallow.
Oh, Ibar just swung at ball 3. That pitch at 97 miles an hour. A.J. Pierzynski is on deck. He would hit for Ogando. Ground ball towards short. Second base 1, and Ibar beat the wrap. Milwaukee cuts down the lead runner. Kelly Johnson's forced out, and Ibar at first for A.J. Pierzynski.
This was a smart play here by VR. He was just making sure that he got the first guy and make sure the ball didn't get by him.
Yep.
A.J. the beneficiary of a scoring change on May 12th. Fly ball that was ruled an error on Freddie Galvis was changed to a hit. So that was hit number 21 for A.J., who's batting .221 for the year. A long ball wins it. And a strike at the knees. 0-1.
Tough thing to do here. Been sitting all night. Go up there and hit off a guy throwing 97. Got to tune it up.
Yeah, 97 with some sink on it too.
Ooh. Swing and a miss.
Or take that too.
Mercy.
That was nasty.
AJ wasn't looking for that.
I don't envy AJ in this spot. Nasty pitcher. No balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a fly ball hit toward right, but that's going to end the ball game as Flores tracks it down, and the Milwaukee Brewers play their 10th consecutive game decided by 2 or fewer runs, and they win tonight by a final score of 2-1. Great starts for Julio Teheran and Jimmy Nelson, but the battle of the bullpens was won by the Brew Crew tonight.